It may be useful to look back at how the U.S. government defended our involvement in Vietnam, all the way to the long overdue pullout. The similarity with viewpoints and statements made by our current leaders is no coincidence. How many times must the cycle of violence, defeat, and grief be repeated?
How do you see it, General?
Very, very encouraged. I've never been more encouraged during my entire almost 4 years in country.
And if you talk to the soldiers that have been over there, that are running missions and convoys and doing patrols, they'll tell you that most of Iraq seems very, very normal. That you go down the street and off on the road and the Iraqi kids come out and wave, and the Iraqi people are open and friendly, the men are open and friendly.
Make no mistake about it. I don't want a man in here to go back home thinking otherwise. We are going to win.
We will fight the enemy and lift the shadow of fear and lead free nations to victory.
The enemy very deceitfully has taken advantage of the Tet truce.
This is an enemy without conscience. They cannot be appeased.
We are on the offensive in Iraq with a clear plan for victory. Progress has not come easily, but it has been steady.
All the challenges have been met. The enemy is not beaten, but he knows that he has met his master in the field.
Yet over time, we can expect to see Iraqi troops chasing down murderers, fewer brazen acts of terror, and growing trust and cooperation from Baghdad's residents.
But elation quickly turned to embarrassment. When the soldiers learned they would not be stationed in their hometowns, half stripped off their uniforms and deserted immediately.
232 GIs killed and 900 wounded makes one of the heaviest weeks of the Vietnam War.
Good evening, everyone. This has been one of the deadliest weekends for Americans in Iraq since the war began.
I thought that the extra troops would be justified only if we use them in a very active policy to force an end of the war on the ground.
So it has to be a sustained, large surge to establish security, gradually expand the zone of security.
How many more years do we have to go before we can get out of Vietnam completely? How long does this go on?
How did these people so early on get so much power that they had more influence in those in the administration to make decisions than you, the professionals?
2 words. Let me put the article in there and make it 3. The Vice President.
But we don't plan to surrender either, and we don't plan to pull out either, and we don't plan to let people influence us and pressure and force us to divide our nation in a time of national peril.
We may have to put our foot down in the short run. Senator Lieberman believes so.
As elected leaders, we cannot conduct our defense and foreign policy, our national security policy, by public opinion polls.
There's a lot of people, good, decent people, saying withdraw now. They're absolutely wrong. Leaving before the job is done would be a disaster.
I shall not seek, and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.
And I know with certainty that over time the contributions you've made will be recorded by history.
The decision to strike these targets was made to restrict and to make more costly the enemy's infiltration efforts.
I think Vice President Cheney has been a stalwart, and he is a constitutionally elected officer, and I think he'll continue to be an outstanding leader for the country.
Do you think he remains Vice President?
I have no reason to believe he won't be the Vice President through his term.
I understand that there has been and continues to be opposition to the war in Vietnam on the campuses and also in the nation. As far as this kind of activity is concerned, we expect it. However, under no circumstances will I be affected whatever by it.
They can't shake my nerve. They just can't shake it. So long as I think I'm doing the right thing, and so long as we can win, I'm going to leave our kids there because it's necessary for the security of this country. If I didn't think that we could win, I'll pull them out.
Lies about war never change, only the places, dates, and names of the dead.